AI is coming for your business. And if you do not do something, you may not have a business in 2, 3, or 4 years. And in this conversation, I brought in my head of AI to talk about what is the correct way to change your agency from a normal agency into an agentic one. What are people doing wrong? What do you need to know? And how do you actually build correctly? So, Fernando, for everyone that does not know you or FAI, as we're calling it, who is Fernando? How long have you been doing engineering and development? And what are we doing at 8FAI?
Nice. Thanks for having me, Jordan. I'm Fernando. I'm from Brazil, and I am doing AI since the pandemic. I started having more free time during the pandemic and start building things on my own. When ChatGPT happens, I already was working with a lot of things, but it was the boom time. So I was kind of in the right moment, the right time to start creating new things with AI. Built a lot of agentic startups, I could say. And yeah, got really excited when Jordan showed me the problems that the marketing agents have and how we could help to level up this.
Amazing. And tell me about, real quick, how long have you been doing AI for? How long have you been doing, or AI engineering for? How long have you been an engineer for?
I'm doing this since 2021. But as a developer, I have 15 years experience. So yeah, I came from a long way. I mean, from the e-commerce, then going to marketplace, CRMs, and starting building AI into startups and agents.
But you've been doing AI development and research since before COVID too, yes?
A little bit, yeah. Like it was more related to data lake, data engineering than necessarily AI, but this is something that's totally related nowadays.
Yeah, they're both. It's part of the bigger picture. Cool.
Yeah.
So, guys, we're going to dive in and we're going to talk about what you need to know about AI and everything. But before we start that, I want to tell you a quick story how we actually got here. I'm consulting, and I've been consulting a multi-8-figure AI development firm, one of the best in the world. They hire PhD level candidates. I become friends with their founder, and their founder sat me down in December of 2024. We had dinner, and he said, your holding company will go out of business by 2027, 2028. You should come work for me so that doesn't happen. And that scared the crap out of me. I was a new father at the time, and that put me down a journey of figuring out how I can move with the tide of AI and not be at the expense of it. And ultimately what I came to learn was you can't just build things in AI. Like, you can't just code your company. Your company needs to be set up structurally so things are defined. There's very clear if-then analysis and if-then statements that can be codified into an agenticized business. And that's when we started to build an engineering team. And I got connected to Fernando through this company. One of their VPs and executives connected us because he's a founder and he was looking for his next big thing. So that's the quick story. And that's what scared me to bolt me into action. And Fernando, I want to start with a really simple question. We've met a few people that are doing AI development, and we've met a few head of AI, right, roles that actually don't know what they're doing. What have we seen? What have you seen is the current mistake right now people are making around hiring inexperienced engineers? And what are those engineers doing that don't scale? That's actually going to break and lead to hallucinations? And also define what a hallucination is, just in case someone doesn't know.
On these times where being a developer is much easier due to the AI, it's really easy to just hire someone or even try to do yourself and vibe code. This is fine, but it will not bring you along the way. You find issues since the beginning. I actually have something that we call the iceberg paradigm, where on the tip of the iceberg, you see that you can run a few automations, a few tasks, but when you really need deep knowledge of your company is where the problems begins. Usually you never have something ready for production and for mass data ingestion. So I think it's really important for everybody to learn how to do automations, etc. But for really have this into your company veins, I think it's really good to have someone from the IT side. Yep.
So let's talk about what structurally needs to be built and what actually leads to hallucinations too. So like define this. What's a hallucination? For everyone that doesn't know, if you start building AI and it hallucinates, what's that mean?
Yeah, hallucinations when the AI, in a nutshell, say it's when the AI doesn't bring the expected results, and even worse is start to looping, because one way for us to try to avoid the hallucination is to understand the output and say this is not right, try again. And this can be highly costly for your company and will not bring you anywhere, basically.
And the way I've interpreted it is if you are working with clients and you're an agency and you're running advertising for a client, you can have automations and AI workflows built that could hallucinate. And what that means is it will produce the wrong result. And if you're running advertising for a client, if you're running campaigns for a client, or if you're sending communications to clients and recaps to client, if it hallucinates,
True.
which it makes something up, it makes the best inference based on the information it has. If you produce the wrong results, the wrong campaign, you share sensitive information, you can lose a client. You could also get sued. So hallucinations for an agency are going to be very serious. So we're going to circle back to how we could prevent that structurally.
Let me give you a quick example of a huge hallucination that happened in a project that I worked. That was a psychologist AI. And one of the things that we should guarantee is that, like, if someone it's suicidal, we don't want the AI to just say, yes, let's go forward, do it, right? And so this is a hallucination problem.
And I'm just gonna really emphasize that if someone's suicidal and they go to a psychologist AI, you don't want the AI to say, okay, you should do it.
Yeah. So we had to create a lot of layers and to write the coding in the right way to prevent these things to happen. And I built this when we are on ChatGPT 3.5, so it wasn't good enough. So we had to create layers of accuracy and precautions. And yeah, when you have something in production, hallucination is a huge problem.
So on top of that, we've been seeing a lot of novice engineers that what they're doing is they're connecting a bunch of tools and building massive strings of workflows. So for those of you that don't know, just our definition, so you could be following our terms, what agents, as we define it, are automations that do simple things. Go get all of the accounts that we're running ads for and put it into a place. Another agent could look at that report and say, look at all of the accounts. If anyone has a cost per lead more than $100, flag it. Another agent could do something else, right? So agents do simple things. Workflows combine agents. So now you could have a media buying associate workflow, and the media buying associate will audit to make sure that cost per lead doesn't go above a certain metric, and it'll raise a flag when it does, and that could be a workflow. So we are seeing novice engineers who don't have 15 years like you do of engineering, who have let like 1 or 2 years of agentic and AI development, who are coming in and they're connecting tools. They're connecting the CRM, they're connecting transcripts, and they're not storing that data anywhere, and they're just pulling it into N8N. For those of you that don't know, N8N is the platform that people are primarily using to develop AI development like coding. These guys and gals are vibe coding, basically, with N8N and companies. Why is this not effective? Why is this a bad thing to do or inefficient if you're a company that is doing 7, 8, or mid 8 figures? Why is that not good?
This is basically what I call the level 1 thing to do. It's in your childhood of maturity in agents, and Usually, we will need to have a vector database or a knowledge graph database, something that will really store and connect the dots for you. And this is really more deep knowledge that usually the vibe coders doesn't know. And that's where the problem begins. Because you start asking more from these automations and they cannot deliver it for you.
Yeah, so they're going to be connecting these things in massive strings, and eventually it'll break, basically. It won't deliver the desired output.
Yeah, and with more data that put in to the AI, we have now huge context, like a million token context, but it's not efficient. Like with more data, more is the chance to hallucination. So you need to start storing these in a right way, using a right schema for it. There is where you have a more production ready system.
Cool. And guys, this is where we are seeing the marketplace is making the first big mistake. All these engineers are just vibe coding things. And if you think about it, every time you need to analyze or pull something from your CRM, your project management, a transcript, and then connect it again, right? Like if you're doing a campaign or anything for a client and you're trying to connect one tool to another tool to another tool, and because you're pulling from the tools and you're not pulling from a centralized place of data, these massive strings of code. And if you can't visualize massive strings, think about all these pictures that you see on LinkedIn of like, I just automate all these things with N8N. That's what we're saying. These massive strings, what Fernando's saying is the longer the piece of code, the more data it pulls from, the more sources it pulls from, the bigger the probability of a mistake or hallucination, and the bigger probability you get effed. So, Fernando, let's dive into the presentation part where we show what our philosophy is, what your philosophy is on how to appropriately build. So while Fernando gets this pulled up, just to give you guys some context, we believe the market is building wrong. We believe what we are building, as we call it, the brain, this is the appropriate way to actually get ready for the AI revolution. What Fernando is going to show you is the way to be enabled to upload all of your information to AI tools. We'll talk about MCPs, and this will be the way to also get competitive edge and compounding time savings and efficiencies because you're building from a brain. So, Fernando, why don't you pull this up and actually walk all of our viewers and listeners through what the correct philosophy is to build AI through?
Yeah. So what I say is the level 0 is where the magic starts happening, right? If you're not even thinking on building AI to your company, so you're even in level -1. But okay, you want to build AI, and you have usually two things that happens that we're seeing from our clients. First, I'll build it on my own, and then it's the iceberg paradigm. You basically will start using NHN, even vector database, but when the things getting bigger, then where the problem begins. There's a lot of things that is usually hidden from the normal workflow and from what the YouTubers is always telling you to do. And yeah, the main problem here is that you usually spend a lot of time until you figure out this. So yeah, we're just warning you about this until you got the level 1. Okay, you were able to create your first automations. Awesome. You are able to automate a few tasks, but you start to feel a pain. That is usually your data now is scattered across different tools. Every agent is living on their own silo. They're not communicating with each other. You want more meaningful insights, but these agents doesn't bring this to you. And now you reach probably the pain that will bring you to level 2. That is basically you need a centralized hub with all your data there. And that's what we are trying to help our clients. The initial idea was to only build agents for them, but what they want requires a more robust, more solid ground. So what we are calling the brain is basically a way for us to centralize all your data in a single place So we start seeing on our clients that we need to have a centralized place for all their data. So if you want to have meaningful insights from your company, you actually need to give the AI all the data, all the visibility that they need to create stuff for you. So what we start building for our clients is basically scraping and ingesting all the data that they have across all their tools. So when I mean all the data, I mean Slack messages, transcriptions, their Google Ads, Meta Ads, Google Analytics, CRM, Jira, Asana, ClickUp, whatever. Everything that can power up our AI. But it's really important for you to ingest this data in the right way, like using the right schema, adding the data in their specific type of databases that I will talk about a little bit soon. And when you have all the data in the right place, then where's the magic happens? You can create agents that has the complete overall idea of your company, will give you much more insights, and you'll be able to do the next phase, that is connecting these agents together and creating what we call like the department agent. So it's a agent that can take a look of your overall data, analytics, LTV, CAC, and can understand that, for instance, I think our views of our pages is plummet, so we need to create more content about this specific metric. So this is the kind of thing that we start to be able to do when you have the right foundation for your agentic agents to begin with.
So guys, just as you're looking at this, what you're seeing is going to be benchmark standard for every industry. If you are building an agentic company, which every company will, you will either build this or you will go out of business. You are going to have a place that has all of your contextualized data. It has all of the data of every client, of every message, of every meeting, of literally every data point. It's going to be in one brain. Now, just like in the past or even now, when you go to build a website, someone does that for you, and then you pay them for hosting. This will be the same thing. People will be building this for the marketplace, and you will be paying them for hosting. So what you're seeing is the evolution of the market. If you're not doing this, as we've already said, you can't build agents effectively that will reliably scale, that will reliably deliver, and that will, if you don't, you're going to hallucinate because you're going to be pulling data from a lot of different places compared to consolidated data. If it's all in one place, it contextualizes everything. It knows when you're talking to a client in Slack and you're having a meeting with them on Zoom and you have data of what you do with them on project management, it contextualizes it in one storage house. That way it starts to understand the life cycle and the experience with the client. So the foundation must be built strong if you're going to do this, and you do this very well.
And another thing that is really important is that now with this structure, you own your data. If you want to change the transcription tool that you use, your CRM, it doesn't matter. Your data is already there in your brain. And you can just grab this data and go whatever you want with it. It's like a suitcase that you can bring to your vacation. Because what we're doing here is also to create an MCP server for the data of our clients. So they can plug in their own ChatGPT or Claude. And when they ask, ChatGPT will go to your company data and will be much more powerful now, right? So you have the freedom that you have your own data. You're not more hostage of any other tool, and you can power up any other different AI model or startup that is created in a few days.
Yeah, and just to contextualize this even further, I was talking to an 8-figure agency in the last 2 weeks. They have like over 10 different departments because they're a full service agency. Every time they have a new client, they build a GPT project for that client. And what Fernando's saying here is this allows you to do two things. This allows you to interface with publicly available tools and LLMs. It also allows you to custom code. And we're going to dive into that in a second. But when you upload all of your information, you upload it with an MCP. An MCP is the modern day API. Everyone knows what an API is. An API connects data between tools. So your CRM and your project management is connected. So all of your CRM data gets floated into your project management tool when you close a deal. With this structure, you have your brain, as we call it, or your databases that have all of the contextualized information of a client on how you do things, on how you want to deliver. So when you do interface with a GPT project, you in the future, if you are going to be using a publicly available tool, you're going to upload all of that client's information and data to that tool. So now it's supercharged. You don't have to take time training that project on how you do things because it already knows. So this is also like, you're going to have a moat because you're going to have a better process than everyone. No one else is doing this right now because it's first mover advantage. The marketplace is still unfolding on how to actually use these tools.
Awesome. Just to give a little bit more of knowledge on how to build that, if you don't want to build it with us, you need to start thinking in more than just vector database because you have different types of data. The way that we build here, we have 4 layers. So the orchestrator layer that will basically control and manage which type of data we will access. The MCP server layer to interact and made a layer in between the LLM and the API. Of course, the API layer, and finally the database. So we use these 4 types of database. And this is really important for you. And that's something that I keep hearing that, I just need a vector database and just drop everything that is going to be magical. It's not like this, but this is really important. And when you're finally start building your agents, you basically use this MCP server that we already built for just level up your agent. So it's much easier because you're not more connecting to each different tool. You're not connecting directly with Google Ads, with HubSpot, with your tool, but you're actually connected to your own data. That is your brain. And we do this, the MCP server layer, for both for sending data to the brain and also grabbing data from the brain. And when you do a question that can be really simple, like what was the last meetings, and also complex, like tell me the average LTV of all my clients in the last 6 months and how their sentiment on renewing the subscription with me. So this is the kind of question that the brain needs to break it in different small questions. One will go to the vector database to grab the sentiment. The other one will go to your data warehouse to grab all the numbers. The knowledge graph will basically have to keep building all these relationships until after a lot of search, it backs with a real quality answer for you. So again, it's really complex, but actually when you have this built out, your life's gonna be much easier from now on. And essentially, another thing that is really important is that you build something that is agnostic of models, because as you can see, every week we have a new thing happening in AI, a new model coming up, and we need to be able to don't be hostage of a model, but to use this new model as a leverage. So when a new GPT-6 coming up, we just change the model and we improve even more the quality of what we have. When Nano Banana is launched, we just need to plug there and create awesome contents, but using the leverage of having all of our data in hand for us. So in a nutshell, I think this is the natural evolution of an agentic agency, right? So you first start building your agents, small tasks, no communication whatsoever with them. But then when you see that you need more, it's time for you to build this centralized place so you can connect the agents and have the overall insight of your company in your hands.
So guys, just to put a pin on this, what we believe is coming, what I know is coming is every agency will have to go agentic. I know this because I've already met fully agenticized agency. I met a SEO, geo, and content creation agency. They built fully agenticized on N8N. They hit 7 figures in profit per year in 90 days. And they're not cutting costs. They're actually charging more. They're charging $15K per month retainers, and their margins are like 95%. This already is existing. It's happening. And the guys and gals that are building, they're building in silence. They're not posting their workflows online because they don't want anyone to know their secrets. The incumbents, the 8 and 9 figure agencies that don't have this, it's actually harder for them to build this because they have so much infrastructure. They have so many people. They have so many processes. It's like stupid hard. The way they are going to survive, they're going to survive through M&A, the Hawk Media model. They're going to, as these agenticized agencies come online and public and people know about them, they are going to get acquired for probably in between an agency multiple, which is a 2 to 5x EBITDA, and a SaaS multiple, which could be like 10x top line revenue, maybe somewhere in the middle. And probably there will be a period of inflation where these, just like in COVID, Amazon agency, a lot of agencies were getting crazy multiples. A lot of agencies were getting 10x EBITDA just because it was a peak of market. So there will be a peak where agencies are being sold at once again, and that might happen in 2026 to 2029, somewhere in that window. That will happen. The way to survive is by building your own, because these people are building in silence. They're going upstream to mid-market and enterprise companies first, where they're going to be selling 6 and 7 figure retainers first. Eventually, the market will learn, the technological founders will learn how to build all of this, and they will get closer and closer and closer to your market. When they hit your market, there will be people that will undercut your price because their margins will be stupid. There will be people that will just keep the same price and deliver better results. If you don't have this, you won't be able to compete. You're going to be using public tools, and there is no moat. There's no competitive advantage if you're just using public tools, period. The way to survive is to forward pace this, beat the market, and own your own IP, own your own brain. And if you have questions on how to do that, make sure you go to the link below, book a call with us, email me, chat with me online. And if it's added value, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. And if you're looking to scale right now, one of the easiest ways is to start to build your infrastructure and to start to build your systems. If you fix your systems and have good operations, it's going to be a lot easier to codify them by building an agentic agency. Check out my next video where I show you the 13 systems every single agency needs to hit 8 figures and also prepare you for AI. We'll catch you in the next video. Thank you.